Hello, and welcome to Shrink, the podcast for the mind. I'm Philippe, and I talk to the people who want to have a better understanding of their issues with weight and body image. Alcohol consumption is somehow a tricky subject. Maybe even more tricky or more difficult to tackle than overeating. Because when we drink, it has different functions for some of us. I mean, some of us will drink only for the pleasure of, the taste of the drink. But for many, having a drink, or more, of course, has a different meaning. For some, it will be a way to relax after work. It will be the transition between a work day and the evening, where they will start relaxing with their family or with their friends. Some of us will have their drink in a pub or in a bar, and others will have it at home. And it's very difficult for many of us to imagine going through that transition between the work day and the stress that goes along without doing it with a drink. For others, having a drink is a way to relax in the evening. So, when they're done with their meal or even during their meal, somehow having, let's say, some wine will be a relaxing thing. And then for others, it will be a way to help them fall asleep. In fact, you have a terrible sleep when you tend to drink in the evening. I mean, maybe not terrible, but it doesn't help your sleep, of course. But it helps you falling asleep. And especially if you're already tired, but you're stressed and maybe there is some anxiety around, having a few drinks will somehow lower that level of anxiety for a little while, just long enough sometimes for you to fall asleep. Another use of alcohol is to make you feel less inhibited. Let's say you're going on a date and you're stressed because you don't know if the other person is gonna like you. You're not sure you're funny enough to meet, to interact with that person. And you think that when you're tipsy or even drunk, you think you're funnier, which you are sometimes, maybe. Not always, that's for sure. And somehow you feel more confident. If you don't have a drink or two or more, you feel like you're going to be too serious, you're going to be too shy, and you won't show the best side of you. Having a drink is also a socializing thing, of course. We all know that. It's not unusual that friends would say, oh, shall we have a drink together one of these evenings, or come and have drinks at home. And it's like we find it difficult to imagine socializing, seeing friends, or sometimes even some family, if we're not having drinks at the same time. So, as I just said, it's difficult to imagine doing these things without having the alcohol. For some of us, for many of us, in fact. When I talk about alcohol consumption to some of my clients, I can feel that they get even more stressed than when I talk about eating more mindfully or more intuitively. For them, it's like a totally different area, and they feel uncomfortable going there. And because it's something they feel like they cannot do without. They're not alcoholic. I mean, when you're alcoholic, of course, that's a completely different matter, and things are different. So is it possible to drink alcohol intuitively, mindfully? Well, I really think so. I'm not saying it's easy, but I really think it is. First of all, is getting rid of some habits, and habits are really tough to stop or to change. Maybe be more mindful and thinking, okay, I'm just done with work, but I'm tempted to have this glass of wine, but I'm going to wait a bit. Maybe I'll have a tea. Maybe I'll go for a walk and get some fresh air. It's finding another transition between your work day and the evening. If you're using drinks to feel more confident because you're going on a date, well, maybe you should, work more properly on this. Why am I not feeling confident? Why do I think that I'm not good enough for that person? Why do I think that I cannot be funny if I didn't have a few drinks? So that's something you can specifically address. This idea that someone won't find you attractive if you're not a bit tipsy, that you're not someone that we will have fun with if you didn't have a few drinks. You may feel like if you're going out with friends or with your family, if you're not having alcohol, you're going to let them down. It's like you're not part of the group because everybody is happy to be reunited around drinks, to talk about it even. Oh, come on, let's have some more, or shall we order another bottle? Or it's so much part of some reunions that you could feel like you distance yourself from others if you're not having these drinks. It may be true, in fact, at first. It may be true that because it will be confronting for the others if you're not having drinks, or if you stop earlier. Let's say if you're just having one drink or two and then you stop. It may be confronting because they will think, well, why do I feel like having more? And how can he do that? How can he resist having only a few drinks, only one, or no drinks at all, in fact? I think it's a good idea to talk about it. I think it's a good idea to explain and say that you want to drink more mindfully, that you want to drink less, but that you're still so happy to spend time with them, and that you're not judging their alcohol consumption. It's worth saying it, otherwise it feels for you like you've got a secret and you're hiding something. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair because then you're going to feel bad about it. And ordering a drink or pouring yourself a glass of wine or preparing yourself a gin and tonic at home, it's something that you do somehow in some kind of automatic mode. I mean, you don't even think about it. Well, maybe sometimes some people, would say, okay, I don't drink Monday till Wednesday, for example. So on 3 days, they're on automatic mode, no drinking. And then automatic mode, I'm drinking. In fact, you may ask yourself, if you're planning to drink or if you're just about to help yourself, pour yourself a glass of wine or whatever, do I really feel like it? Do I want to have that taste in my mouth? I know that I'm not going to sleep that well if I'm having alcohol because I've experienced it so many times before. So I want you to have a guilt-free, I would say, dialogue with yourself, but because you're not guilty if you're having wine, but you're responsible for your consumption, of course. So it's having this benevolent, kind chat with yourself. It's not a chat that should last half an hour or an hour. I mean, it's just a minute or two, asking yourself, no, in fact, I don't really feel like having a glass of wine. I'm going to have a Diet Coke. I'm going to have some water. I'm going to have whatever. I'm going to have a tonic. And the same should be repeated. If you've had the first glass of alcohol, you should ask yourself the same, whenever you're ready to have a second one or someone is asking you if you want a second one, is ask yourself, do I feel like another glass? No, I'm fine. I'm not thirsty. So anyway, I'm not ordering it because I'm thirsty. Am I going to feel like I'm not part of that group if I'm not having a second drink? No. They're my friends. They're my family. They love me. We have fun together. I don't need to get tipsy in order to get there. Same when you're on a date, asking yourself, well, do I enjoy the date that I'm having with this woman or this man? Do I feel like I really need to have more alcohol in order to appreciate it more, or to feel like I'm less controlling or whatever? Having this kind dialogue with you in order to be more intuitive, more mindful, and not regretting the next day and saying, shit, I drank too much yesterday. In fact, for many of us, it's a narrative. It's something we keep on repeating week after week. It's like, so how was your weekend? Well, it was nice, but on Friday we had too many drinks, and I wasn't well on Saturday all day, and I'm going to watch out so that I won't drink that much next weekend. It's something we tend to repeat, week after week. Why? Why would we have to put ourselves through that? And then there is another thing. Why do we have to finish our glass? Let's say you order, or our bottle, sorry. Let's say you order a bottle of wine and you're sharing it with friends. At some point you feel like you've had enough. Why would you have to finish the bottle? Well, you could say, well, I'm going to pay for it anyway. So what? Yes, you're going to pay for it, but why would you then ingest more wine just because you're paying for it? Why would you finish your glass of beer just because you paid for it? You see so many people when they're about to leave, to go to another place, and they will quickly finish their drink. Why? They don't even appreciate it. They just drink it quickly in order to empty their glass because it feels, I don't know, maybe it feels wrong to them not to finish it. And it's the same as with food. You don't need to finish your plate, and if you're not hungry anymore, you don't need to finish your glass of wine or your beer if you're not appreciating it anymore. Your body is not a bin, so it's better if what's left, whatever is left in the bottle or in the glass, is going in the bin than in your body if you don't feel like it. But I get it that it's not easy, and for many people, it's they would rather go to a all or nothing way of managing things. They would become completely sober, and why not if they're okay with that? I mean, it's not a bad idea, but it doesn't come easily for many of them. And others will say, okay, I don't drink for another month. Like for a month, I'm going to stop drinking any alcohol. But you haven't solved anything. You just postponed taking care of that. So yes, maybe you will make it, for a month, and after that, it's like, okay, I know now that I can stop, so it's fine. I can start drinking again. I know how to handle this. Well, it's a shame because that's not mindful, that's not intuitive. That's just a rule that you give to yourself for a week, a month, or whatever. But then you get back to it. It's like dry January, which I think, in my mind, is really not something which I would recommend. It simply doesn't work on the long term. I don't want to sound boring or judgmental because I enjoy having a glass of wine or two. Sometimes I will enjoy having a good gin and tonic. And so it's not like, I'm not saying drinking alcohol is bad or you should stop but if you want to lose weight, you cannot act as if this didn't matter, because it does matter, because it's calories. It's calories that your body doesn't need. So it's extra calories on top of the ones you get from the food. So even though I get that it's difficult to change your habits when we're talking more specifically about alcohol, it is difficult as well with food sometimes, but with alcohol, I think it's worth having a good look at it in a non-judgmental way and thinking, okay, I'm going to deal with this. Again, like I said, maybe I insist too much on this, in a gentle way, in a kind way. I'm going to make sure that it's something that I can do in the long term, and I will feel good about it.